gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's November the 4th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by bespectacled managing editor Matt Shodell and the great Izubee Charles today as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And gentlemen, the University of Miami football program is all in on this weekend against Florida State. We got to start today by talking about this absolutely just incredible list of recruits that is going to be coming to Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday. And we could touch on some of the names in a minute, but let's talk about it in general. It is as big of a recruiting lineup as Miami's had in years. I mean, when you look at the recruiting classes of 2023, 2024, 2025, 26. I mean, they've got it all covered here between commits and targets and everything in between. And guys, let's talk about the strategy. First of all, Izubee, I'll start with you. You've been spending a lot of time with a lot of these recruits lately, and Miami's a 9-point underdog in this game, but when you're playing Florida State on national TV in a night game, and it's the showcase game of your season, I think you got to go all in, and you got to rally the troops. You got to get the kids to play at their best. Miami has not had a complete game yet this season, and there will not be a more perfect time for that, Izubee, than Saturday night at the Rock.
Of course, with Hard Rock Stadium being sold out, and like you said, 23, 24, 25, might be 28, 29, class of 29 guys there with all these recruits.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, so just packing the Hard Rock Stadium this Saturday night, it's going to be awesome for these guys to see. Throughout the season with me talking to some of these recruits, this was a big game that they had circled on their calendar. This is a game that they were planning on coming to. I even talked to one recruit that has a homecoming dance on Saturday night, said he's going to be watching the game from his phone. So this is going to be a really big recruiting weekend for Miami.
Matt, you've been covering recruiting for many, many years here, and they've always had a big game and had decent recruiting lists from time to time. But this one's a monster, man.
Yeah, the recruits I've talked to say they're very excited to see Florida State. They think Florida State can really perform well. And, we'll see what happens, I guess. But no, I mean, in the old days, Miami and Florida State overlapped so much with recruits. I mean, you would have half of the class that would sign, and Miami would have won that half of the class head-to-head with Florida State. It seemed like they were always in for the same guys. That's not really the case so much anymore. They run different systems, and FSU, I guess, has their own system for evaluating their own territory and whatever else. But with that said, this is really Miami's, I don't think Miami's going to beat Clemson, right? So this is Miami's statement game. They haven't had a game they can hang their hat on, period. They haven't had – Mario Cristobal can't go into a house in December right now if they don't beat Florida State or Clemson and say, look at the progress we've made from the beginning of the season when we couldn't even play with whoever and we were struggling. Like, he needs to at least be able to say to people, look at the progress we made. We're great coaches, and you can see, we were left – he keeps telling us, he was left a bare cupboard, apparently by Manny Diaz, which he didn't start telling us until they were 3-4. But it was nice for him to tell us when they were 3-4 that's when he realized he had a bare cupboard, which, by the way, was the same cupboard I had when I went stone crabbing yesterday evening. There was nothing in the bay, okay? It was very disheartening. Notwithstanding that, these games are so important because there's no more chances, like, who are they going to play and impress you against? Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh? Like, no. If they beat Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh, great. If they look good doing it, great. But no one's getting that excited about it necessarily. You beat Florida State, people are excited. You play well against Clemson, lose by a touchdown or less, people get excited. Like, that's progress. Like, we need to see progress. Fans are annoyed, not necessarily because of the losses, but because of how the team has looked. The team has looked disinterested. The coaching that was supposed to have other teams, basically saying what Miami's been saying for years, which is we never saw that on tape before. They shocked us, and then we had to adjust. We haven't heard that from other coaches. Those are the things that we thought we'd be hearing by now, and we still can hear them. But it'd be nice for it to start with Florida State, right? Maybe they're saving everything for Florida State, saving their offense, saving their defense. All the surprises are for this weekend.
It's a great opportunity. You got the national TV audience, you got the night game at Hard Rock. Hopefully the fans show up. The atmosphere, I think after a day of drinking out in the parking lot, that the place is going to be pretty sauced up, man. It's going to be juicy at Hard Rock Stadium.
Well, yeah. I mean, the key is going to be Tyler Van Dyke. Tyler Van Dyke, he's not at full strength. We know this. Mario Cristobal's big on battling through injuries, and if Tyler Van Dyke's cleared, which I believe he was cleared to practice because Mario said he practiced, but from what I have heard, like, he's not 100%. Do you send him out there not 100% because he's cleared, but he can't throw real like normal?
I can't wait to see if he really starts.
Listen, he will be suited up. I guarantee you, he'll be suited up. Whether he starts and plays, I would not be surprised if they start Jake. And like, if Jake is struggling and they're desperate, like, maybe you bring Tyler in just for short passing games and just to settle things down, and maybe you bring Jake back. And like, I personally, just sort of knowing what I know, I can't imagine Tyler starting and playing the whole game. I don't think Tyler would really want to do that either. He's not 100%.
We don't know the degree of his injury.
Well, I know the injury he had, and it's not. He's not going to be at normal arm strength. He's not. He can take a shot and maybe be less immobile or whatever. But like, it's not something that normally you would be forced to come back and play through necessarily. But they may not have a choice, and sometimes you take one for the team and you hope for the best. And if somebody sacks you, just sort of go down on the good arm, right?
Well, Mario doesn't talk about anything. Mario doesn't reveal anything. Okay. Yeah. And I found it a little mysterious, Izubee, that in the middle of the week, all of a sudden in his Wednesday press conference, it comes up that Tyler's looking pretty good. He's trending in the right direction. The insinuation that we think there's a good chance that Tyler is going to start on Saturday night. And I don't know if he's like throwing little things out there for the benefit of Florida State. Who knows? Go ahead, Matt. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, what we need to know, with an injury like this, you sort of test the guy out usually on Wednesday or Thursday, see if he can actually do anything. But we didn't talk, we talked to Mario after Wednesday practice, but really the most important practice was yesterday's practice, because typically with an injured guy, you have to go through a full practice and sort of do what you do on a Thursday.
The insinuation that he's been practicing all week.
Come on, he's been limited all week. We know.
I understand, but I'm just going by what Mario said, and I thought it was like, is Mario really saying that? Because normally he wants to keep everything a secret, and so my detective antenna is up. How about you, Izubee?
Personally, I don't know. With Mario all season long, he's kind of been wishy-washy with the injury reports, just saying minor, significant, and we don't know yet. So with this one, it's in the air, honestly. Personally, I would like to see Tyler Van Dyke out there, even if he's at 80%. I'd rather have Tyler out there than obviously kind of Jake's still getting used to this system. That Virginia game wasn't the best first look for him. So personally, if I'm Mario and Tyler can go, I'm throwing him out there. If he ends up falling, like Matt said, hopefully falls on the good shoulder, not the bad one.
Well, Mario wouldn't play possum with Mike Norvell, would he? Like, no, I can't even begin to imagine that. But I will say this, and I think Matt will agree with me, since he was the self-anointed president of the Jake Garcia fan club just a few weeks ago. Before by
the way, you owe your dues, Gary.
Before 5 turnovers against Duke, and then an absolutely scared performance last week. But I'm giving Matt a hard time, but I have not lost faith in Jake Garcia. I don't think that was the real Jake Garcia that we've seen the last 2 weeks. I've seen him just do so much better on the practice field. I think against Duke, he got caught up trying to play hero ball and just made some horrible mistakes. And I mean, this is a kid, Matt, that we've always seen have great pocket awareness all through practices and stuff that we've seen. And all of a sudden he doesn't have pocket awareness anymore. And he's getting strip sacked and he's throwing wild passes and stuff. And, then clearly he was scared to death at Virginia, whether it was scared to make a mistake, scared to turn the ball over. Maybe he was coached a little too hard. That can happen to where too much was in his head during the course of the game. Listen, I'm not looking to make excuses for the way he played, but when you're sitting there trying to win the game at the end and you're running the ball on 3rd and 8 instead of throwing it, and you're playing for the whole thing, really your whole season, that tells you right there what Josh Gaddis thought about the way things have gone all day. But Matt, I haven't given up on him. I know you haven't either.
No, I mean, Jake Garcia's game against Virginia was not that dissimilar statistically, at least, than Tyler Van Dyke's game against Virginia, his first start last year. It's difficult sometimes, to have your first start and especially be on the road and have all the pressure on you. Some people, it's tough. And I again, like I said, I don't think Josh Gaddis did Jake Garcia any favors in the game call, in the play calling in the game, in the way the game was structured. It didn't seem like it really fit Jake Garcia's strengths. I have just based on what I saw, it seemed like during the prior week, it was more of, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake, don't make a mistake. And we tell, basically a true freshman, I know he's a redshirt freshman, but he's basically a true freshman experience-wise, don't make a mistake all week, after he had 3 interceptions the week before in his first, 3 quarters or so of football, real football. They go into a shell, I already said, basically it was a quarterback who didn't want to make a mistake. And you could even see on some of the deep shots he wanted to take, he would double pump. He didn't trust his eyes. That's, to me, on Josh Gaddis. You have a young quarterback and you're just not, making that quarterback comfortable in what you're calling and how you ran things. I mean, it was obvious Jake Garcia wasn't comfortable. Fans can blame Jake all they want. He did not play well. Nobody's disputing that. He did not play well. Gary was joking. I'm the leader of the fan club because I said Jake should play a game so we know what we have. And he did play a game. I mean, we do know what we have. Maybe we'll know something different after this game. If indeed Jake starts and plays well, maybe people will have a different, a different look about it. But
the good thing is we don't have to argue anymore about whether there's separation there. There's clear separation, and it is undisputable. I mean, there's a big difference between those two guys, and it's mostly because of the experience that Tyler has in games. The confidence he has. He does have a stronger arm than Jake, but the biggest thing is that he's been there and done that now in college football, and he's still early in his career. He's far from a totally polished product, and that's why I believe he will be back next year, if not at Miami, somewhere else. But and we'll see what happens there. But he is ahead clearly in terms of the Tyler Van Dyke, Jake Garcia debate. But guys, let's get back to this recruit list, which was the origin of this conversation. You got all the 2023 commits: Emory Williams, Nathaniel Joseph, Robbie Washington, Riley Williams, Jackson Carver, Reed McKeska, Francis Mayagoa, Frankie Tinalau, Tommy Kinsler, Antonio Tripp, Jaden Wayne, Popo Aguirre, Bobby Washington, Malik Bryant, and Cormani McLean. Matt, I didn't cross-check, but I don't think anybody's missing. Is there a commit missing from that list? I don't believe there is.
15 out of 20 are coming.
15 of the 20 commits?
Yeah.
So who's not coming?
Rashada. I didn't go through who's not coming, but there's 5 of them that aren't.
Okay, there's 5 of them not coming. But a unique opportunity, really, to bring all these guys together. They've been on group chats for weeks now and talking to each other online and urging each other to be part of the class. Kind of nice that they all get together on Saturday, and they got that great recruiting area at Hard Rock Stadium, and we'll be camped out outside, right, Izubee, checking that scene out, and they get to bond a little bit, and I think that helps Miami ward off any potential defections, because once December gets here, it is going to be the wild, wild west. I mean, everybody's going to be taking shots at everybody's recruits. You are going to be so entertained on CaneSport.com, everybody, in the month of December. It is going to be the craziest thing that you've ever seen in your life when you factor in transfer portal kids and everything else. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And but this gives Miami coaches a chance to bring these guys together, solidify the class, and have these guys solidify their bond with each other. So that's a real good thing. Not to mention, help recruit the 7 2023 top targets that are also going to be in attendance. Ruben Bain, the defensive end from Miami Central. Chamberlain Campbell, a defensive end from Lakewood High School. Tashawn Lyons, a wide receiver from California, flying in for the game. Micah Mays, a wide receiver from the Benjamin School. Stanquan Clark, linebacker, Miami Central. Damari Brown, American Heritage School cornerback, and Shamar McNeil Jr., a cornerback from American Heritage as well. That's 7 guys that, if they could get 5 of them, I think this recruiting class would be over. And Matt, like I said earlier, it's all in, man. Do you like this strategy?
What strategy?
Everything I just laid out, man.
I think I pay attention to what you're saying, Gary.
Again, people are going to crash their car on the way to work.
I don't pay attention to what you're saying. I'm seeing how my fantasy team did last night.
All right. Izubee, what do you think of the strategy?
I think it's going to work wonders, honestly, because these guys, you've seen them on social media. Every time someone commits, you see Antonio Tripp, sending out a tweet, or these guys replying to one another saying, hey, come join us. You see what's going on here. So having that in person is completely different. And I think it's going to work wonders for Miami, just having those 15 core guys. You have guys like Cormani's going to be there for the first time. Him just committing sent ripple waves, through the internet, guys tweeting out what's going on in Miami, what are they doing over there. So having him there, having Francis there, all those top guys saying, hey, we're here, you guys should join us, we can make something special happen here in Miami. So I think that's a big plus for Miami, what they're going on with recruiting.
Great answer, man. Forget Matt. We'll do this show without him, okay? Who needs him anyway? But first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
We here at LifeWallet take security very seriously. Our data security team is working constantly to make sure that your data is not accessed by anybody who you don't authorize.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm
Excuse me, sir. Thank you.
I have and he's thinking about it, and I'll be talking to CC. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
We use leading technology standards like biometric data to make sure that only you have access to your data and your identity is protected. LifeWallet gives you access to your entire medical history and information at the touch of your finger, so that it can save you time and can save your life.
Data transfer complete.
Yes, Matt, I know you have your Life Wallet and you want your life on this show today saved, okay? So we'll consider this data transfer complete, and I'm going to bring you back on. But when I ask you a question, you got to give an answer, all right? We'll be right back to you. Unbelievable, Izubee, huh? I mean, the things that we go through at CaneSport.
Hilarious.
Welcome back.
All right.
You should have your own reality show, Gary.
All right. So we talked about 2023, but that is just the beginning of what is going to be going on Saturday night at Hard Rock. I mean, listen to this 2024 list. You got Abram Murray, a place kicker. Prentice Nolan, one of the top quarterback prospects in the country. Davion Gauss, the running back from Chaminade Madonna. Jarrett Gibson, a running back from IMG. Kendall Jackson, defensive tackle from Buckholtz. Dimitri Nicholas, a defensive tackle from Pace. Dalen Russell, defensive tackle from Christopher Columbus. Dylan Stevenson from Christopher Columbus, a defensive end. David Stone Jr., a 5-star defensive tackle out of IMG. Defensive end Ernest Willer out of IMG. TJ Capers from Christopher Columbus. Man, they must have like a bus coming from IMG. I mean, they got the whole darn franchise over there coming to this game. Nicholas Rodriguez from St. Thomas Aquinas, a linebacker. The superstar wide receivers from Chaminade Madonna, Jeremiah Smith and Josiah Trader. Frederick Gaskin, cornerback from Vanguard. Jalen Hayward from Rockledge Senior High School, a DB. Safety Brandon Jacob, cornerback Charles Lester, safety Zaquan Patterson from Chaminade, safety Brayshawn Williams from Lakeland. And I'm not even going to go to the 2025-26 list. I mean, this is unbelievable, guys. Absolutely unbelievable. Miami all in on this game from a recruiting standpoint. Miami fans, keep your fingers crossed, man. This is an opportunity for this program that we may not see for a while. I mean, you look at next year's football schedule. I mean, the marquee game is going to be Texas A&M coming to Hard Rock. You may not see this for a while, seriously. And big night Saturday night. Fan base, show up, be loud, be crazy, be rowdy. I want to see Matt Shodell shaking in the press box, okay, from all of the juice that's permeating from Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday night. All right, we got other stories on the website today that we need to talk about, and nothing more significant than the two stories that we have from Izubee Charles's trip to IMG Academy this week, and those are features and videos with Francis Maigoa, the offensive tackle, and Jaden Wayne, the defensive end. And we have a separate video on all this, Izubee. We won't get long-winded on that subject right now, but just for those that haven't seen those videos, your general impressions of your time at IMG this week.
Those guys are ready to come to Miami and be a part of the change. First off, with Francis, the biggest thing he told me was just he's going to put in 110% effort, so the people around him put in 100% effort, and he just wants to be a part of what Mario Cristobal's building. He's bought in. He's ready to come to Miami. He's ready to make an impact. And with Jaden Wayne, he's right alongside Francis with that. Both early enrollees, both ready to come to Miami in January and just get the ball rolling. Jaden has told me about how he's watched, Miami's D-line this year and how impressive they have been doing, and he thinks he can fit in seamlessly and just be the next guy up in that heavy defensive line rotation we always talk about. So those guys are ready to come to Coral Gables and make an instant impact.
All right. And while Izubee's been racing all over the state of Florida this week, we put Matt to work breaking down Miami versus FSU by position with analysis and who has the edge. We have that on the website today. Matt, who has the edge? What do you think? Miami or FSU?
I personally think Clemson has the edge. Neither of these teams are particularly good.
Do I have your permission to whack him again? Can I just send him off into outer space or whatever? I mean, it's just a button. I mean, that's all I got to do, man. Just click a button and Matt just disappears. Goodbye.
Personally, FSU I don't think is that good. We know Miami is not that good. So either of these teams, I don't care what the betting line is in this game. If you look at who has the edge, I think it's pretty clear that Florida State has the offensive edge, especially with the quarterback situation at Miami. Even if Tyler does start, play, whatever, I still think he's going to have, be somewhat limited. I don't know that he's going to be able to take deep shots with a lot of mustard on it. And I think Florida State, if he does start, will quickly be moving all of their DBs up, tight, stacking the box, that sort of thing, not really fearing the deep ball until Tyler proves he can do it. I'm not sure if he will be able to. And then, remember when De'Ara King played with a shoulder injury and we were his balls had nothing on them? My fear is if Tyler plays, it's going to look like that. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong.
We'll see. Yeah. If he's not 100%, I agree that they probably start Jake and see how.
Right. Well, the difference, Tyler can be cleared, but when you have an injury for 2 weeks, you rest it and da-da-da-da-da. For those of you out there that have had an injury, like if you have a boot or your arm in a sling for a week, it takes a little while to get not the muscle memory back, but the strength, and just the flexibility and all that stuff that goes with it. So I would not be surprised at all if he's cleared. Obviously he's been cleared to practice. Wouldn't be surprised if he's cleared to play in a game. But with that said, I think we'll find out very quickly if he does start, if he has any muster on deep balls whatsoever, or if it's just going to be this shell of an offense again where Gaddis is just throwing the ball within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, which is what we've seen all over and over again, which has kept bad teams in games with Miami. And FSU isn't bad. FSU's decent to maybe a little above decent. So it's going to be interesting. But I think FSU has the edge on offense, like I said. I think Miami actually has the overall edge on defense. I gave them the edge on the defensive line and in the secondary, barely in the secondary, not at linebacker. And I gave Miami the edge on special teams. So, Miami just won two-thirds of the game, defense and special teams. It's over, FSU. Why even show up? Stay home.
Well, it's interesting. FSU coming into Hard Rock, and the betting line has fluctuated between like 7 and 9 points. And my initial thought was, oh my God, man, that's a big line for this game. Izubee, can Florida side? To me, Florida State is no different than Miami. Like, they maybe have played a little bit better this year, but their roster is not complete by any means. They lost 3 games in a row, granted to decent teams, but I don't see Florida State as a complete football team to where they should be coming into Hard Rock as 8-9 point favorites.
Yeah, with rivalry games like this, I think you throw all betting lines, plus and minuses out the window. I feel like at the end of the day with games like this, it comes down to who wants it more. And I saw a hilarious tweet from Leonard Taylor today of the game last year of him slamming an FSU player saying, I'm on one. So just energy like that is what I feel like is going to decide a rivalry game like this. Just who wants it more, who's going to be willing to grind it out to the 000 hits the clock. And I think that's going to be what it comes down to the most.
Wow, Leonard tweeted that out.
Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, Leonard.
Oh my goodness. Is it still up?
I believe so, yeah.
I wonder if somebody made him delete that after he tweeted that. I'm going to try to look at his Twitter real quick and see that. Boy, that's wild, man. If he, I'm on, yeah, there it is, man. I'm on 100. Wow. That's pretty wild, man. That's good to see, man. That's old school Miami FSU with all that, where we used to see smack talk galore all week long. But kind of surprised, man. Leonard's feeling pretty good ever since Matt Shodell wrote that story about his mom making him all that great food every week and how it's helped him play better. If you missed that, it was on the website yesterday. So, you can go back and look at that. It was really actually a pretty good story, in all honesty. I give Matt a hard time, but it was one of his finer pieces of work, at least this week. And it's just such a cool story. Just how Leonard Taylor's mom has whipped him back into shape, and he's playing great right now. Another really cool story that we're going to have on the website later today was written by Jim Martz off of the Lamar Thomas show from last night when we had Terrell Buckley on the show. And those of you who don't know the name Terrell Buckley, he's one of the best cornerbacks to ever play for Florida State. And he and Lamar Thomas matched up in some pretty heated battles on the field during this rivalry. Well, Terrell Buckley was just named this past week the head coach, at least publicly, of the Orlando franchise of the XFL. And guess who he hired as his assistant head coach? Lamar Thomas. So you got an FSU legend hiring a Miami legend as his assistant head coach, working together on this XFL league that, oh, by the way, is owned by a Miami guy, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And so you got Miami FSU all over the place in the XFL. But, Matt, pretty cool, right? That you get this FSU legend, Terrell Buckley, going to Lamar Thomas and saying, I respect you so much. I want you to be my assistant head coach. Yeah, but they if you read the story, they played golf together. They became friends. You can play against each other and still be friends. A lot of these guys become friends after the fact. Yeah, so it's neat that they were rivals and now they're friends. But that happened with me and you, Gary, right? Yeah, 100%. Lamar actually what was the worst moment of Lamar's life? That Alabama national championship game where George Teague stole the ball from him, right? Izubee, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. That was I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the year.
I actually watched that episode of the Lamar Thomas show and how he's
okay.
Alabama and things like that.
Yeah. But it was just a ridiculous play. I mean, Lamar, Miami's getting killed in the game. Lamar catches a pass from Gino Torretta, and George Teague comes flying over and steals the ball out of his hands. And it's one of like the epic plays in college football. They still talk about it. Well, Lamar and George Teague have become friendly through the years, and they do endorsements together where they sign autographs of pictures of the play and crazy stuff like that. So a lot of these guys do become friends as time goes by, and it's just kind of cool when you see it in as heated of a rivalry as this one is. So make sure you guys check that one out. We have so much on the website today. That one will pop out, probably around mid-afternoon or something. So make sure you check the website for that story. It's really cool. And you also can watch the second hour of the Lamar Thomas show from Wednesday night when Terrell Buckley was on the show with Lamar, myself, and Bruce Warner, and it was a really, really cool show. I think you'll like it. All right, we also have an update today with defensive end Jafari Harvey and safety Cam Kinchens looking ahead to the Miami FSU game from yesterday. In case you missed it, we had the latest installment of Izubee's 100-yard walk series that is becoming absolutely must-watch television on sports internet circles, without a doubt. And Izubee did that one with Antonio Tripp, and Antonio's a little bit of a trip. I'll steal I'll pretend I'm John Ruiz for a minute and throw out these crazy puns, like Nigel Pack's going to pack the house. Well, Antonio Tripp is a trip, and he really is. Like he's been a social media phenom during this recruiting cycle in terms of recruiting the other kids. Tell us real quick about, your 100-yard walk with Antonio and how you like that.
Yeah, Antonio is an awesome kid from West Baltimore, Florida. I asked him, my favorite part of the interview, what's one Canes legend you bring back and add to this class? And he said Ed Reed, and he just told me how growing up in Baltimore watching the Ravens, that was one of his, favorite players of all time. And now having Ed on that staff and him come and play for Miami, he's really excited about that. Got to know what he likes to do outside of the football field. He said he's really big into coding, so I thought that was a really cool thing. Don't hear that too often from kids, but Tripp's a really cool guy, really cool, awesome guy.
You got to try to pack a lot in that 100. You only get like about 2 minutes.
It goes by fast, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys aren't walking that fast either. I mean, it's a slow walk, but 100 yards, you think of it as like this great long distance. It's really not. But these interviews go about 2 minutes, and they're really cool. And if you look at at Izubee's Antonio Tripp 100-yard walk story, at the top of the story, there will be links to all the other ones he's done in case you haven't seen them. So make sure you check those out. They're really, really cool. Izubee, you forgot to tell one of the greatest experiences of your life. Izubee sends a tweet out saying, "Hey, I did this 100-yard walk with Antonio Tripp," and he mentioned Ed Reed in it. And Izubee tagged Ed Reed in the tweet. And what happened, Izubee?
Yeah, so Ed Reed actually quote tweeted. He said along the lines of thank you, nephew, to Antonio Tripp, and saying, yeah, your time's coming up soon at Miami. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Izubee, I'm sure he screenshotted that and stored it away somewhere on his laptop so he would have that forever. The day that Ed Reed promoted his tweet on Twitter, man, it doesn't happen every single day. All right, let's see what else we got on the website today. We also had our weekly You Bet CaneSport feature, lamenting the absolute trauma that the betting Canes fan has been going through this year. Miami has yet to cover a spread, unless you want to count Bethune-Cookman. 0-7 against the betting line so far this season. And I think that with this line being set a little high this week, that hopefully this will be the week that Miami breaks through, obviously wins the game, and also covers the betting line, which would come in tandem with winning the game, since the line is going to be somewhere like 7, 8, 9 points. That's a lot of points. The Canes fan is going to be taking them, I'm sure. And hopefully it works out better than it has these first 7 weeks. But we break it all down with Lee Sterling in that feature. And then let's not forget that basketball season starts on Monday.
Hey, wait, hold on a second. What's Lee Sterling's record this season? Do we know for the Miami?
Well, his record on his service, is really, really good.
Not the Miami ones.
Well, he's given picks on the Miami games. He's probably 50-50. Like last week he said Virginia, and Virginia ended up covering by 0.5 point. But he's been doing great this year on his Paramount Sports service. He's really good. He's not going to give the Miami game to his clients every week. I don't know that he's given the Miami game to his clients once this year, to be honest. But I make him pick it for our show.
Right.
And but yeah, so it hasn't gone well for Miami fans for sure. Lee's probably, I would say, 50-50. All right, and like I said, basketball season starts on Monday, and we have a CaneSport TV interview today with the big man on campus, the guy that is going to have to be a beast inside, and that is Norcad Omier. And Izubee, I'll go to you on this one, since we were watching basketball practice to get together a week or so ago, and no denying, man, Norcad, or I don't know if it's Norcad or Norchad, but he is unbelievable inside. And the big question is going to be, I mean, I think he's only like about 6'7", and he's going to be playing the 5. And there's going to be times he goes against 6'11", 7-footers. And one of the big issues for Miami this year, if there's going to be an issue, is going to be that. Can they survive playing small ball? Last year they played small ball, but they had Sam Wardenberg, 6'10", manning the 5. You're a baller. What do you think? Do those 3-4 inches of height make a difference in the paint?
With Norchad, I would say absolutely not. So I asked him about that, actually, being undersized and what his thoughts on that. He said, man, my entire life, people have been calling me small. People have been counting me out. I just play with a chip on my shoulder, and that's been what's been getting the job done so far. So watching him too, he is a very powerful man down low. And with his offensive game, he can stretch the floor a little bit. I saw him hitting a couple of threes. So really excited to see what Norchad brings to this Miami team.
Yeah, the thing that'll really strike you guys as you watch Miami basketball this year is the effort level that this guy puts out. I mean, it is something else, something to watch. And I'm telling you, man, to get into Miami basketball. The season starts Monday. We will have tons of coverage, obviously, but get into Miami basketball this year. This team is going to be exciting, and it could be really special. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and predict they're going to go to the Elite Eight again. We'll see what matchups they get when they get to March Madness, but they're going to be a fun team to watch all season. I think they can contend for the ACC title in a very, very competitive, packed league where teams are going to be knocking each other off. And I think Miami could be right in the fray this year, so make sure you get into Canes basketball. All right, that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much for starting out your day with us, putting up with Matt Shodell, and looking ahead to Miami FSU from all the different angles that we have covered here in this show, that we have covered on the website today. If you like this content, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube. And also, please, if you have not yet gotten your subscription in to CaneSport.com, please subscribe to our website. We really want to have everybody on the site. Apologies. We kept the introductory price at $1 for 4 months, and now it's up to $10, but that's still a pretty great deal. So come on in. You get the site for $10 all the way up to the start of the 2023 football season. At which point we have to stay in business. So we will eventually be going back to regular price. But thank you so much to everybody for joining us over here at our new site on the On3 network. So for Izubee Charles and Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We will see everybody at Hard Rock Stadium on Saturday night. I was about to say 7:30, but there's nobody coming there at 7:30, man. That parking lot is going to be lit by about 2:00 in the afternoon. There's no doubt about it. And if you've never seen Miami FSU tailgates, it is worth the price of admission, which is free. So just get out there early and just walk up and down the rows, man. I promise you, you will never have a better time in your life than checking out the tailgates at the Miami FSU game. So we'll see everybody at the stadium. Have a great day, everybody.